Hi, everyone. I'm AJ Willoughby. Glad to be back again. Another Monday night product call. And I'll tell you, tonight's going to be a fun night. We have got, not only do we have the renowned Dr. Fred Templeman, who is the head of the Medical and Scientific Advisory Board for M Global, but we also have with us Shaneequa Shares. Now, for those that haven't gotten a chance to meet Shaneequa yet, you're going to love Shaneequa. She's got a personality out the wazoo, and you see some of her videos every now and then on Facebook, and you're like, this is a girl I want to be around. And this is a girl who has some incredible testimonies about what the products have been doing for her. Shaneequa, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for reaching out. I was like, oh my God, they know my name. So, hey, I'm glad to be here.
Well, so let's just go on ahead and let's dive right in. We're going to talk a little bit about all the products tonight and a little bit about what it's been doing for you. Now, you've been on the products for really not very long. I mean, what? No. How long have you been on the products?
I'm a jam girl, so it's been less than 2 months.
Less than 2 months. Mm-hmm. Which one did you start off with?
I started off with all of them. I did all the sticks at one time, you know.
All of them at one time. All of them in one big shake, huh?
All in one day. Not one time, but all in one day. Because I was like, okay, I'm good. Next one, okay, you know, and yeah, don't do that. It was a nice lesson because my body was like, what's all this healthy stuff? Girl, can you please go back to the chips? Because this is ridiculous. So my very, very, very first stick, though, that I went ahead and tried was the Core AO, you know, this guy. This is the ninja of your products. Like, this is the one that a lot of people do not realize is working. I've seen comments that are like, oh, nothing's happening. And I was like that, you know, as well. I'm like, Core is not, you know, Core is not doing anything for me. But after being on it for about 3 weeks, and then I took off a few days before I had to have surgery, and I realized that I went back to normal, and that normal sucked. Normal was not good. So, and that's, I actually did a video on that, asking my VIP group, like, what is normal to you? Because a lot of us are dealing with normals that really aren't normal. You know, they're actually very abnormal. We get used to our pain. We get used to our discomfort. And so when we get something that disrupts that and then we go back to normal, we get to see that the stuff really does work. Really, really does work. But I do have one more story about the Core. This summer, I caught the summer flu. At first, I thought it was just some sniffles. Somebody sneezed in Starbucks, and I just happened to be next to them. And I was not happy about that because I'm a bit of a germaphobe. And so I was like, you sneezed? And then that was like a Thursday, and then a Friday, kind of got a tickle. I was like, let me try this Core because I've seen all those reviews. I'm going to try this Core. And then tried the Core. I woke up, my eyes were still achy. I was like, oh, I think this is some real stuff. Let me drink a Core and a Go, because I had to go to the post office and drop off my trial packs. Go made me write a song about it, you know, to the Wham song, Wake Me Up, because that's exactly what it did for about 4 hours. And then I got hit by the Mack truck that was the flu. I tried Dayquil. I tried Theraflu. The stuff didn't bring back my nostrils because I was stuck. Like, it was just terrible. And then before bed, I said, let me do Core one more time, because I heard Dr. Templeton say, like, get it in your blood, get it in your system. So start stacking it. So that was like 3 cores in a row. The next morning, I woke up and I was a human being all over again. And I was sold on Core, absolutely sold. And then, you know, that was just amazing.
Awesome. So now that's after just being on for just a few days, actually, whenever you started, right? And no results. You know, it's amazing. We see so many people say that same thing, just like you, that, you know, they start taking the Core, and it's unlike the Go, where the Go, I mean, you notice results within 15, 20 minutes, you're going. Yeah. And it's giving you that energy. The soul, you notice, hey, you start having that calmness, and you notice that right away. But the Core, a lot of people don't notice right away. But and we mentioned it, just a few weeks ago. Hey, if you're wondering whether it's working for you or not, I dare you to stop taking it for a few days.
That's definitely a dare, because when you stop taking it, you realize your normal sucked. Like it really, really did. The other interesting thing is the very, very, very first time that I tried the core, I was like, I didn't know what to expect with the sticks. I figured I'm a major skeptic. So when I saw all the reviews in the group, I'm like, these people are on some placebo drinking juice. Like, because somebody said it was good, here we go with the mob mentality, right? So when I took core that very, very first time, I went out to lunch, I'm sipping my core. I'm like, I don't know what this does. And so I don't know what to expect from it. I've never been big on super antioxidants. Like the health field, other than like weight loss type of stuff, just is new to me, boggling. Like I was like, what is a mangosteen? I had to go research that. And so I'm out at lunch, enjoying my lunch. And then all of a sudden, I realized I was very relaxed. And this is why I say your normal isn't normal, because I have been high strung, high stressed for years now. Like I'm talking about blood pressure out of the wazoo. I go to the ER. They're like, "Are you not in pain?" I'm like, "This is normal. I'm okay." They're like, "But your blood pressure is 173 over 117. This isn't normal. You don't have a headache?" And I'm like, "No, I'm fine," because I was a teacher, so I'm stressed. And so I'm sitting there at that lunch, and I'm talking to somebody, and they actually asked me, and not to offend anybody, but they said, "Are you high?" And I said, "No, I just had this core. Like I'm super relaxed right now." And I relaxed so much, and it happened another time that I knew it was definitely the core. I relaxed so well, I couldn't participate in the conversation. I just sat back and I'm like, I feel good. I feel very good. Because I guess it calmed down some of maybe the inflammation, maybe whatever the craziness in my body was, it just like removed it. And I was just super calm. Right now I'm on my mommy juice, which is soul and smart together. So like, let me take this before we get on this call. But
Absolutely.
that's that.
So, Dr. Templeman, let's go ahead and let's stop here. We're discussing the core right now, and some of the things that she's noticing. And of course, here it is. Why is it that people, they don't see the results until after all of a sudden they stop taking it? And then also the calmness and everything that's going on through Shaneequa.
Well, actually, if we examine what Shaneequa just told us, there was a very, very measurable short-term effect that I'm going to describe to you. AJ, that for 15 years now, I've been using the mangosteen in my patients. And when I talk about core, there is no question that it is the mangosteen showcase product. There is no product on the market today that has more mangosteen in it, dose for dose, than we have here. And that was really one of the conditions upon which I insisted when I came to work with them, was that if we can't showcase the mangosteen, which is what I've been beating the drum for about 15 years, then I'm not sure that I'm your man. But they allowed me to change it 4 times, and we increased the mangosteen in it every one of those times, doubling it each time, until now we're at this critical mass where nothing in the marketplace can match it. Now, let me talk to you about a doctor who works in Acapulco, Mexico. And he was trained in Mexico at medical school there, an American, went down because he couldn't get into a medical school here, came back up, did his residency in the United States, became a professor at a medical school. And then when he got into his mid to late 50s, said, "Hey, I miss the laid back lifestyle of Mexico. And I'm going to go back down," because he had married a Mexican woman. And so he could go back down and live there. So they went back to Acapulco. And this doctor was dealing with a relatively high proportion of HIV patients in his practice. Now, these folks are the victims of a virus. I remember one time I said to someone who'd come in, I said, "Well, it's only a virus." And he said, "AIDS is only a virus." And I said, "Well, that's not what I meant actually." But that doctor realized that if he dosed patients who were hypersensitive to viral infections because their white count was so suppressed by this terrible disease, that if he gave them a small amount of the mangosteen every half hour when they started to feel the prodrome that was described, you know, the eyes that are hurting, the kind of feeling like somebody's beating you on the back with a stick, that which is called malaise. When the malaise starts, it means that you've had your first discharge into the bloodstream of homegrown viruses. Viruses go into the body, they infect the cell, and they put their own DNA or RNA into the nucleus of the cell so that the cell starts making viruses. And this feeling is partially the actual ramping up of the immune system. This kind of soreness is the ramping up of the immune system in response to the first pouring out of homegrown viruses. So the infection is still relatively at the beginning. And he discovered that if he gave a very small amount of the mangosteen every half hour for about 8 doses, it would abort the actual viral infection. Now, we can't make claims because obviously what he's doing is important to him, but it's his own personal experience. And we just don't have the kind of evidence that allows us to make claims and say this will abort viral infections. But I will tell you, I haven't had a viral infection in 14 years, all right? Now, the most I ever get is just the start of it, just the beginning of it. And then I ramp up on this half-hour basis and start to take the stuff, and I've never had a full-blown viral infection in as long as I can remember. Now, that's when I was in a room with people sneezing on me all the time. And doctors are notorious carriers of germs from one patient to another, but they're also the recipient of this. So most doctors really have quite a few sick days during a year, and I haven't had that. So the mangosteen is at work, and it's at work not only in reinforcing over the long term your immune system, or in her case, she said, I just feel relaxed. I had that as a common finding in my patients who were using the mangosteen for more clinical problems other than the ability to relax, but they managed to relax very well. So is it important? It's multifaceted. Not only does it have the antioxidants in it that the immune system uses to attach to the toxins that it's removing from the body, the liver does this, and it attaches an antioxidant to make many of the toxins and bad things that it's trying to eliminate from the body water soluble so that they can go out in the urine. And that's what it does over the medium to the long term. But in the acute moment, it will relax you, or in fact, some people get energy from it. But it very definitely, as I suggested, can be used in a small, rapid dosing period of about half an hour. When you think something's coming on, dose 6 or 8 times at half an hour intervals. And if you're as lucky as I am, then you're going to see responses that are really quite remarkable that can't be claimed. But in a study, a case study of one, if it happens to you, you can shout it from the rooftops.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Shaneequa, all right, so we talked about the core already, but you were also showing about the fact that, hey, you've got some extra stuff in your bottle, and it's your mommy juice. Explain, what is your mommy juice?
You know, my moms are out there. They know our brains are going 1,000 miles a minute. We think about what the kids are doing, what the kids need to do, what the kids have to do tomorrow, or what the kids have to do tonight. And when do they take a bath? And when do they go eat dinner? And what should we give them for dinner? And what do they have for lunch? And our brains are just constantly going. It's like, and as a person who has ADD on top of that, because that's me, as a person who has ADD on top of that, it's like, if you've ever seen my computer has 25 tabs open at almost any given moment, 25 tabs. And at some point, Google says, girl, stop. It will just shut me all the way down. But my brain can't do that. And what it will do, it will just keep opening tabs, keep opening tabs. And so, you know, at the suggestion of some of the ladies in other groups, they said, you might want to try mixing smart and soul. And I'll tell you why. Because smart for me, you know, like I said, I'm ADD. So I said, let me try this one first. So smart for me is like, you know, I wear glasses also. So some things are fuzzy. And but when I put on my glasses, the picture becomes really clear. And for some people that works for their ADD, for me, it doesn't, because it makes everything look even more spectacular. So while my mind might be clear, and honestly, I could feel it happening. Like I'll sip on it and then like 5 minutes later, it's like something just happened, you know? And so it works for me and it gives me the clarity. But soul, I discovered that I had to take soul three different times to realize that soul actually worked. I thought it wasn't doing anything for me. I thought I wasn't this anxious person or anything. So the first time I took it, I was like, okay, nothing's happening. I slept well, but you know, that was before I got my hands on M3Z. I'm like, nothing's happening. You give me good sleep. That's okay. And then the next time I took it, I was having an anxious moment. And then I just went to bed because I said, I know it works for me going to bed. So I'm going to go to bed. But the next time I took it, it was in the middle of the day. And I actually took it with core. And I realized that I was focused. All the tabs, all the other tabs in my brain were closed except for whatever it was I was working on. And I was able to, because I'm actually an author as well, and I teach other people how to write their own books. I was able to write this whole book in one day and go to Stacy's meetup in Atlanta. So I was like, okay, I'm sold on soul. And then when they said mix them, I was like, you know, that makes sense. And so I did it yesterday. And I'm like, this is my go-to juice. You know, it closes the tabs and it makes whatever I'm focused on really clear. And then I get to be present in the moment. So that's mommy juice for me.
Yeah, able to write a book in one day. I can't even read a book in one day, let alone write a book.
One day.
Wow. So, all right. So now I haven't heard of mixing the soul and the smart. I mean, we talk about mixing all these different ones together, but mixing the two, but I guess it makes sense because they're both nootropics. Dr.
Right.
Tippman, what do we happening here when we're mixing both the soul and the smart?
Well, the soul is largely for as an anxiolytic without being able to make claims that it is going to affect anxiety. There is no question that when you give your body some of the things that are the raw materials for the kinds of neurotransmitters that are going to be calming, that you're going to have an effect. And there are products on the market out there that bring about a lack of anxiety by actually suppressing things like kava and very, very heavy deals that actually suppress. The ingredients in soul calm anxiety. They're intended to do that, but they do it by actually raising energy so that it literally gives you energy while you are calm. L-theanine is one of the things that can do that. It's proven that it will increase alpha waves, and alpha waves are kind of calm alertness. And then you add that to the smart where you have huperzine, and huperzine is so powerful that in a number of countries it is available only on prescription. Here we can use it this way, but some of the places where we market our products, we cannot use the huperzine because it is so potent. But all of these things are affecting the brain. They are nootropics, and they are either intended to depress the level of anxiety while raising energy, or to make the mental processes of thinking less foggy. We live in an electronic fog. Literally, there are so many signals from shortwave, from microwave, there's a lot of electronic interference, and it can contribute to an endogenous, meaning an inside problem of brain fog. And those kinds of things can be lethal combinations when it comes to creativity and energy to use with your brain. You just can't get it organized. Well, I think those two, which I have used before, although my favorite is the core and the soul, but those two have been used to great effect by quite a few people who are trying to do exactly what Shaneequa is trying to do: organize the day, keep all of the tabs that need to be closed for later closed. I love the analogy. It's incredible because that's exactly what it is. Your brain has an area called a clearinghouse. And what it does is it tells you, don't pay attention to this thing which is coming in. Little kids, for example, who have ADD, if they've got a twist in their underwear, there's no way they can't pay attention to it, even if they're in class, because their brain is inefficient at being able to exclude the things which shouldn't draw their attention. And I believe that really mixing these, now let me show you something. I don't know whether I can do it. Let me look at my.
It's not a twist in your underwear, right?
No, not a twist in my underwear. I'm not going to show you that. But
okay, good.
You see what I'm working on here? See all these little cups?
Yeah.
This is a new product on the end that we are stacking with every one of the current products to be able to see what the effects will be. It's really striking to be able to work for a company where we have the lab so that we can work with things here, and they don't have to be perfect and they don't have to make it to market necessarily, but we can put them out and let all of the members try them, and then we get a very valid feedback, not only as to effects and desirable or undesirable, but also to the commercial viability of it, so that we're not putting products into the lineup that are just not going to hold their own as far as viability is concerned. So she has, along with many other people, discovered the advantages of stacking these together to get the cumulative effect that you want. And like I say, my favorites are the soul and the core, but you know why? It's because I have a tremendous sweet tooth. And I just love the way those two things go together. But they also help me because I'm geriatric. And I depend on the mangosteen and on those antioxidants to kind of let me remain sharp the way I'm supposed to, without the anxiety which comes from things like having my little grandkids around my pool table. That is an anxiety-provoking situation for me. And I wish the mothers were taking them home and trying to feed them and do things that causes anxiety for the mothers. So yeah, Shaneequa has stumbled onto the tremendous secret of stacking because it makes a big difference.
Absolutely. All right. So let's continue here because we got some more. We're going to get through here real quick, these last ones. So we've talked about stacking. We talked about the soul, the core, the go briefly, the smart. All right, Shaneequa, tell us more. What's been changing your life again?
Okay. Just a quick note. What I found interesting about core is that so many people talked about how sweet it was. I find it to be the most bitter because I have a super palate. And so I actually have to stack that with things because to me it's bitter. And I found out it's the mangosteen that's actually the bitter.
Yeah, that's true. That's right.
Yeah.
Tough to distinguish that.
Now, Trim was my girlfriend. Because one of the reasons I was really excited about acquiring Jamberry was because at that moment I had made a decision in my life that I was going to get better. I was going to get healthier because I currently have an abdominal hernia. And when I sought the advice of a surgeon, they said they wouldn't touch it until I was under 35 BMI. So I had to make a decision about how to lose weight. However, I had these heel spurs that was making physical activity extremely hard for me. In fact, I just got surgery to deal with one of them. And so I went to trim. I hadn't yet received burn. And so I tried trim. And that one night, I have a terrible, terrible, terrible habit of snacking late at night because I don't sleep. I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm up, I'm working, you know, I'm building websites and all that kind of stuff. And I was able to sit right next to the kitchen for 7 hours and work without once going to the kitchen for a snack with trim. However, the next day I did my trim, I was hungry every 3 hours. So I thought I broke it. You know, it's like, I must have a defective one. So I tried it again the next day and every 3 hours. And I'm like, this doesn't seem right. It's supposed to be an appetite suppressant, which by the way, it's not. It's appetite control. And so I talked to a friend. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm hungry all the time. And she said, well, does it affect your metabolism? Now, guys, I just turned 39 in June. And my last few months of teaching, I groaned whenever I got up. I shuffled like I was like 89 years old. I groaned when I sat down. Like, it was terrible. Like, I felt like a really old lady. Like, I was really tipping on that midlife crisis. And one of the things that I realized before we got on this call is like, I don't do that anymore at all. I don't groan, I move, it's good. But this thing revved up my metabolism. And I'm like, oh, great. So that means I'm going to gain a whole lot of weight. Holy smokes, I'm just going to be eating. But what I didn't bargain on, and I didn't know this was happening, is that these sticks, they satisfy sweet tooth. And I wasn't reaching for bread. I wasn't reaching for sweet tea, and I'm in Atlanta. I wasn't reaching for soda. I was reaching for my water and my sticks, or, you know, a vegetable or a fruit for a snack. And this was subconscious. This wasn't on purpose, you know, because I had snacks all around me. And so it revved it up. And then I'm like, I'm dreading to get on the scale. I'm like, this is going to be terrible. I got on a scale that first week. I think I lost like 5 pounds, 4 pounds. I lost 4 pounds that first week. And, you know, and there are reasons, because obviously I'm drinking more water, and I thought I was drinking enough. I was drinking more water and I was eating more, spread out throughout the day. So I wasn't sending my body into starvation mode. My body was happy to burn what it needed to burn and use what it needed to use, because our bodies, they're cars. We have to give them the right kind of fuel, and we have to give them fuel, you know, kind of consistently, you know. Other people are, I don't eat breakfast, I don't eat lunch, I only eat 1 time a day. I'm like, baby, you ain't never gonna lose weight, you know, because even if you do, the minute you start eating like a normal person, all the weight, and then its best friends are gonna come. And so I packed all these sticks up because I had a convention to go to in Vegas for a whole week. I just knew it was gonna be bad. I was eating that Pin-Up Pizza at the Marriott hamburgers. They were big, delicious hamburgers. And then like, I was just enjoying myself because I'm in Vegas. And then I dreaded that scale again. I got on that scale, and do you know, I lost another 2-3 pounds. And it wasn't because I sweat out my life in that Vegas sun, but it managed to keep me moving, keep me going. And I think you guys talked about it being about satiety. So whenever I was done eating, I was done eating. It wasn't like, oh, I need to eat and keep eating. I just would eat on a different clock. I don't know if you want me to pause on that, but I also took the burn. And the burn, I did my research. I read about the different ingredients in there. And I know the Y one is a little troublesome for some folks. But when I read why the Y was a problem, it was men, you know, because men were bodybuilding and overdoing it and overdosing it. And so somebody had to go, okay, we got to regulate this thing. Because I figured out that was what, like, largely the people who were having problems were men, because they were overdoing it, because it was
blame it on the men. That's right. Blame it on the men.
The men. Women pay attention to what they're supposed to do. Okay. And so the fat burner compared in conjunction with the appetite control, not suppressant. And people got that wrong. Like, they think it's supposed to suppress your appetite. It ain't, boo-boo. It's supposed to make you you know, feel like I'm good once you eat. Like it's and obviously Dr. T can talk to the rest of what it's supposed to do, but they are good friends. They work well together, and I'm excited about it. I do know that on a video I watched, Dr. T, that you said we take burn for 60 days and then we give it a rest, right? If you can speak to that, I would appreciate it.
When someone is trying to lose weight, and I've spent most of my adult life doing that, you know, if food didn't taste so good, it wouldn't be so easy to gain weight. But as you get older, your body metabolism is not as active. You do not need the same caloric value. And the choices of how you combine your foods becomes virtually a science. You need to be thinking about it. If you have snacks or you're going to be eating several times a day, which is a very good way to do it and to maintain an appropriate feeling of satiety throughout the day, make sure that you don't have to rip anything open, because everything you rip open to get a snack is bad for you. These are things like, my kids came to my house and my 16-year-old granddaughter looked in the refrigerator and she said, "Grandpa, I'm hungry." I said, "Hey, there's a whole refrigerator there." She said, "You've only got ingredients. You don't have any snacks." And I said, "No, you're right. I only have ingredients." And so we get into a habit where we use prepared foods that are intended, they're salty, they're fatty, they are intended to make you want more of them. And that's not a good way of being. And something that Shaneequa said that really, really is helpful is she said, "I can snack all night." And I used to have patients who would try to lose weight by not eating breakfast, by not eating lunch, because when you're pre-diabetic, if you are, you're not hungry until later in the day. And then right up until 2 o'clock in the morning, or until your eyes are shut, you could eat the grease off the wallpaper. It is something that just goes on and on and on. And after 8 o'clock at night, a calorie is no longer a calorie. A calorie is a multiple of a calorie. And so knowing what you're eating and when you're eating and how you're eating it with these little snacking things through the day, and using the burn and using the trim. And for people, quite frankly, whose body mass index is not over 30, I do not encourage them to use the burn, because the burn is the heavy duty, high caliber stuff that really is going to rack things up. And because it is doing that by cranking up certain other body functions, that's why I say give it a rest after a maximum of 2 months, plateau if you need to as far as your weight loss is concerned, and then go back on it. But usually if you're going through the behavioral changes of selecting your foods differently, of managing the time that you eat your foods and eating nothing after 8 o'clock at night, you're not going to plateau, even though you set the burn down temporarily. So the burn is heavy duty. It is something that if you have high blood pressure, you need to test yourself to see if you're getting a rise in blood pressure as a result of the use of it. The way you would do that, everybody who's got hypertension should have a wrist cuff. The Omron wrist cuff for about 35 bucks is a very reliable product to be able to carry with you in your purse, use anywhere, but sit down for at least 2 minutes in a sitting position without kids beside you, because your kids will drive your blood pressure up. So sit down alone for a couple of minutes, take your blood pressure 1 hour after you have used the burn. And you must take your blood pressure first thing in the morning. When you swing your feet over the side of the bed, just sit there, take your blood pressure before you go to the bathroom, before any activity, because that's the highest baseline blood pressure that you will have all day. And blood pressure goes up and down all day, but you want to know what your baseline is. And then you take the burn when you're going to use it, and 1 hour later, which is when it peaks, you're going to take your blood pressure to make sure that you have not had a significant rise. And the pharmaceutical industry did something to us again just recently. It changed the levels of normal blood pressure. It dropped them strikingly. They claim that there are sufficient studies to prove that this does improve morbidity and mortality from cardiovascular events, and that's the #1 killer still in North America. But it claims that it has done that on good evidence, and now we're down 10 points on the diastolic, meaning the lower of the two readings, and there's been an adjustment in the systolic. So know what is normal for you, and if the burn is raising your blood pressure, it's not an option for you if it's a significant rise. But if you can use it for 2 months at a time, because it will help you with your project of losing weight. And like I say to everybody who has been obese in their life, and I have, losing weight is the equivalent in terms of effort as changing your hair color with the force of your mind. There is not going to be anything that will be harder for you to do. But the upside is better health, longer life, and an enormous feeling of satisfaction internally when you are able to muster the discipline to be able to use the products appropriately and stay on a long, slow slide down into normal weight levels. Do not want to drop off. I know that some people will actually take a laxative and they lose 1.5 kilos, if not 2 kilos, because a lot of us are full of it. But that is not the way to start out. You want to take on healthy behavioral changes, use the products that are available, and these are good products, appropriately, and then you will get to your goal.
You know, I think that's one of the, I think that's one of the neat things about the fact of that we've got so many different products and so many things that people can really choose. Hey, this is what it is that I love. You know, maybe you love this one, maybe you don't care for this one, and that's okay because you love this one and it's getting results. So the thing is, we're seeing results happen with each of our products, and some people love every single one of them. And, you know, so Shaneequa, we got just a couple more here real quick. So we're going to zip through these. Yeah, let's talk about Reveal, and let's talk about the M3Z real fast.
Give me like 2 seconds to make a quick note about the burn. Is that I've seen people talking about it makes them jittery, and I usually ask them, what do they eat? And they're eating like granola. They're eating something really light with it. That is not the kind of the meal you eat. You eat a substantial meal, and you eat some, take the burn, and then eat some more. Like you sandwich it is what I do. And you do not feel what people are claiming that they're feeling, and usually it's because they're trying to eat something super, super light. And if you don't do breakfast, do it at lunch, like, you know. But anyway, Reveal, holy smokes. Yo, I am totally convinced that the M in M Global is magic, because so far, all of them have been like that. I told you I'm not the placebo person. I'm total skeptic. So I tried my face today, but I don't think I did it right. So I got to go back and try it again. But then I said, you know, I saw pedicures. So let me look at my feet. And as I told you guys, I had surgery on August 28th. And for 5 weeks or 6 weeks, I'm not allowed to put my foot on the ground. So my right foot has been doing all the work. And my poor baby needed some love. And so I said, let me see, you know, and I read what Deidre said. And she said, you're supposed to let it sit for a little while and do all this stuff. So I went to put it on. Those roly-polies started immediately. I was like, oh, my baby is so sick. She just needs some help. And I'm thinking it's not going to work because they already started. So I'm just wiping it off to do it again. And do you know, all that dead skin was just rolling. That liquid Velcro was grabbing the heck out of it. My foot is so beautiful right now. I'm super, super happy. So I tried it on the dead skin that's under my wrap. I've tried it everywhere. It's amazing. I can't speak to my face yet because I got to figure that out. Or, you know, the hyperpigmentation, I've seen the great reviews on it. But for my feet, I will keep this stuff in stock and won't see my pedicures that often.
Awesome.
So that's Reveal for me.
Awesome. All right, M3Z.
M3Z, again, magic. Now, I'm going to tell you, I know you guys say 6 to 10 on the label. I did 6. I had blockbuster dreams. I woke up even more tired than when I went to sleep. I'm talking about I can hear the surround sound in my head. So I cut it down to 3. 3 is perfect for me, like absolutely perfect for me. My daughter, she does 2. I have twin kids, and they both do 2, and they don't have bad dreams. And so they're like, can I have the sleep spray? And they ask for it, and they do not have bad dreams. My daughter has terrible nightmares. But the thing that made me say this is magic is one day I was getting, recently, because I did a testimony about it, I was getting a headache. And, you know, I read a review that said this works for headaches. So I do the 2 or 3 of the sprays, because I know we're not supposed to say sprays, the 2 to 3 sprays in my mouth. And I hadn't swished it around yet. I didn't even swallow yet. And my son came and talked to me. And as he was talking to me, I said, what just happened? And he's like, what? I'm like, my headache is leaving. And it just started subsiding. And within 10 to 15 minutes, I did my live. By the time I was finished with my live of talking about it, it was gone. I couldn't tell where it was. You know, usually they leave that residual ache. I couldn't find it. And so I'm keeping a bottle in my purse everywhere I go. I wish as a teacher, I had all this stuff. I might still be in the classroom because this will help you deal with life. Like, I hope we get the rocket in the sticks real soon, because it was the only thing I was able to keep down after my surgery. So that's all of them.
Amazing. Well, all right. Give us your 30-second spiel on the nails now. You've been doing the nails and the wraps and Jamboree stuff for a while. So run it down for us, girl.
I actually joined Jamboree 4 years ago as a way to, I had twins at the time, so as a way to supplement my teacher's income. Guys, direct sales is like the best way to go, especially for females. But in this company, it's everybody, it's open game. And so I'm a nail biter. I haven't jammed lately because I moved and everything, but I was a nail biter. And one of the things that sold me on Jamboree was the fact that it kept me from biting my nails. Within 6 weeks, I had nails that to the point where I was doing all that flashy things girls do, like when they get nails, like, hi, yes, how may I help you? You know what I mean? But I haven't jammed lately. So, because I left the company briefly and then I came back this year just in time to find my way to M. So I'm about to start jamming because I just ordered some and it should be here soon.
Awesome. Dr. Templeman, what last words do you have before we close out?
Every ounce of the M3Z has 7 trillion active particles. I had exactly the same experience that she did when I took the prescribed amount of 5 to 10. 10, I didn't sleep. I was in the middle of dreams. I would just close my eyes. I would be in the most vivid dreams. Some of them were pleasant, some of them weren't. So I concluded that, you know, this is not for me for that reason. And I would use it during the day for situational anxiety because it works immediately. You notice how fast her headache was gone because in a matter of seconds, it is in your bloodstream from underneath your tongue. 7 trillion active particles. So on the question page on Facebook where people ask me product questions, I was learning as I read all of the comments down there when people were saying, hey man, I can't do any more than 2. And some people were saying 1 is the max for me. And so I thought, what the heck? And I started taking 2 shots at night. I sleep really well. The dreams are manageable. And in this case, a little bit goes a long way. I still use it during the daytime for situational anxiety. And I have a good friend who I've known for a number of years who used to suffer from panic attacks. And he was using many different products, and he had tried all of the things that medicine has to offer as well, including those things which addict. And he uses a combination of the soul, of the smart, of the core, and the 3MC, and he has not had a panic attack since he's been doing that now for several months. So that's his experience. I can talk about it because I'm a doctor. You can't talk about somebody else's experiences, but I can. And so, yeah, it's a remarkable product. Now, in the previous iteration of the Reveal, it was a little bit thicker, and I used to use it on my forehead where I get cancerous lesions that normally I would have burned off either through a laser at the spa, where I'm a medical director, or else I would do it myself with liquid nitrogen. But I had these things recurring, and I started to leave the old version on. Now the new version actually crumbles up really well, because the reason I didn't do it before was I didn't have the time to stay around and rub my forehead or my hands or my cheeks for 4 minutes. That wasn't anything I could do. But there have been literally dozens, if not hundreds, of stories that have come across my desk and across electronically across the various places where people share their experiences, of men who leave it on and get incredible results, like I have with my forehead, which is smooth now and never was before. And folks who are older have deficiencies in the way their skin reacts. And this helps me minimize those things to such a degree that I've become a believer. I really recommend it to everyone for everything that they want to do with their skin, whether it's moisturizing, whether it's softening, whether it's desquamation. I think it's worthwhile for everybody. And if you're a man and you only want to slip it on and then leave, that's fine too.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Tippleman. Shaneequa, what last words do you have? If you were to talking to someone right now and they were trying to make a decision of, is M Global for me or not? What would you have that you would be saying to them right now?
What I would say to them right now is this company is less than 2 years old. It's not well known. And I promise you that will not remain over the next year and a half. So now is absolutely the time to get on, because you can stand by what it says it does. And there aren't a lot of products out there. It's not gimmicky. It's not about wraps or as he said, using the bathroom through teas and all that kind of stuff. This is legit giving you supplements and nutrients, and the world is sick. So that means you have a lot of clients.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Shaneequa. Thank you, Dr. Tippleman. Everyone, we have gone long, but it has been incredible information we've had tonight. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you all next week.